Hi my loves, thanks for returning. I hope this video finds you happy and doing well. As you know by the thumbnail, I will be comparing two of Tarte's latest foundations, and that would be the Tarte Babassu Foundcealer as well as the Tarte Face Tape. So first let me get into how I'm actually going to be comparing them. So I'm going to be talking about what Tarte claims to do with these foundations. I'm also going to show you the application of each as well as pictures, some with a flash and without a flash, with powder and without powder. And I'll talk about if the foundation is comfortable or not, and just kind of give you my thoughts on what I think about the foundation and who I think the foundation would be best suited for. And when I say best suited for, I'm just talking about certain skin types. For me, I feel like this video would be more effective if I show you the application, show you some pictures with a flash, without a flash, with powder, talk about how it feels, and let you actually see how it's sitting on my skin. And then from there, you know, if you decide to pick up the foundation, you can use some of your favorite primers and powders to go along with the foundation. Because to be honest, what primers and powders may work for one person might not necessarily work for another. So hopefully that makes sense. Plus, I'm hoping that some of you all will be able to use this video as a shade reference. So of course, I'll be talking about the shades, and for those of you all who feel as though you're close to my skin tone, maybe this will be able to help you pick a shade or not. Somehow, some way, I'm hoping that this will be helpful to someone out there. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this foundation, and this is the Babassu Foundcealer by Tarte, and this is the latest one. This is actually the foundation that I have on now. So Tarte says that this foundation is supposed to be light to medium coverage, and it's supposed to give you that lit from within glow. And they say that it's supposed to be where a foundation meets skincare, and where those two come together. And they say that mainly because of the babassu plant extract that they've included in this foundation. And they boast that it's from the rainforest, and it's supposed to nourish and provide moisture and hydrate your skin. And I will say that that is definitely true. This foundation is vegan, it is cruelty free, and it does have an SPF of 20, which is very important, especially now that summertime is here, and for those of you all who will be out in the sun with this foundation. Now I have to admit, if you have dry skin, you will absolutely love this foundation. It is very dewy. Even like I said, I have it on now and I've set it with a powder, and I still feel like I have like a really dewy, glowy look. And it almost looks as though if you touch my skin, it would be greasy or something like that. Honestly, it's not. It just looks like that, which is really cool. Now they do claim that this is supposed to be customizable coverage, which means if you apply it with your fingertips, which I know a lot of you out there don't like to do, you're going to get a light coverage. And if you want it to be a little bit more coverage, you use their sponge, and with a brush it will be medium coverage. So now I'm going to start going into some inserts. So I started off using a moisturizer. I have a clean face, and I use the Believe True Cream Aqua Bomb moisturizer. I absolutely love this. And as you can see, here is the box. It has the name on the front, you get the ingredients, you get their website, and you get the shade. And the shade that I am in is 54H Deep Honey. And I personally feel as though this is a good shade. Some of you may think it's a little bit too deep, but I've spoken before on why I prefer to go a little bit deeper as opposed to a little bit lighter. And what I do like about Tarte is they attempted to have different undertones. And the different undertones that I saw was peach undertones, neutral, and yellow. And that was from lightest to deepest. So I think they probably could have included different undertones. Let's say like Fenty does. They have cool red undertones or cool neutral and things like that. But you know, I can sit here all day and say coulda, shoulda, woulda. I think that it is better. I think that online the shade ranges are a tad bit deceiving, because when you actually go in the store, it doesn't appear to be that many deep shade ranges. So as you can see here, it has a pump, which is really nice, and I'm going to use about a pump and a half. and the foundation is not runny at all. So it's rather, I want to say it's kinda on the thick side. It's moving into the realm of thickness. And I just decided to apply it in sections because I didn't know if it was going, how fast it was going to dry. And it appeared to really blend well over the skin. And as you can see, even with the brush, it doesn't have the medium coverage as they claim. I did go in with about a pump and a half or so more to try to cover up my dark spot, or at least get them covered a little bit more. After all of those applications, as you can see, this is a super dewy foundation. And if you are oily, I would say to run from this foundation unless you do a pre-skin prep with a super mattifying primer. But outside of that, I would say probably stay away from this one. And of course, if you don't like that dewy look. So I have some pictures of how it looks with a flash as well as without a flash. Okay, and I did decide to apply some powder. The powder that I decided to use is one of my favorites, and that's the Cover FX and powder. And that powder pretty much plays well with every type of product that I use. So I wanted to play it safe and just kind of use that powder. And so here I have a picture with a flash. All right, and I have a picture without a flash, and these are again with the powder. And I also elected to take a picture just with natural sunlight without a flash, and I really do think that it's a pretty foundation. I think that it really comes together after you have your full face applied like I do. I have everything applied, but I wanted to show you all how it looked without makeup, because I do realize that there are some folks that don't wear full face of makeup, and that's why I wanted to show you all how it looked without all of the extra makeup. But this is how it looks with just a little extra added, like the highlight and lipstick and eyelashes and eyeshadow and eyebrows and all that good stuff. So overall, I really do like this foundation. There was no scent, which I was happy about, and it really does feel comfortable. And even though my face looks really shiny and glistening and, you know, glowy, which I actually like, if you were to like touch it, it's just not, it's not greasy. It looks like it might be, but honestly it's not. It's a really pretty foundation, and I think that the color looks good. You may have seen something different within the pictures, but I think that the color is a really good match. You can let me know down in the comments what you think. All right, so now I'm gonna move into the Tarte Face Tape Foundation. Now, I got this from Ulta, and this retails for $39. And this is supposed to be a full coverage matte foundation. And I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. It does say that it's long wearing. However, I didn't do a wear test, so I can't really speak to the longevity of this foundation. And they claim it's not supposed to give you a cakey feel, that it's supposed to look flawless. They also say that it's supposed to hide pigmentation, red marks, any type of scarring that you may have. And this foundation is cruelty free and vegan as well. So even though this is a matte finish, it's still supposed to give you that natural finish, and that's mainly because of the ingredients. So this foundation does have snow mushroom extract as well as apple extract and hyaluronic acid, and those are to keep your skin hydrated. And I would definitely have to say that when I applied this foundation, it didn't, you know how the traditional true mattes, they just kind of suck the dryness out of your skin. It didn't feel like that at all. It actually just kind of felt like a radiant foundation. Even though it was a matte foundation, and that's largely in part to the ingredients. And what I do like about this foundation also, as well as the other foundation, it doesn't have parabens, it doesn't have mineral oil, it doesn't have sodium lauryl sulfate or phthalates, and it is gluten. So if you're someone who really cares about the ingredients, neither one of these foundations has that. And as far as the undertones are concerned with this foundation, it's the same thing. They had the neutral yellow and peach undertones. So I feel like, you know, as far as trying to better suit deeper skin tones, they probably could have added maybe a red undertone. But you know, again, I can sit here all day and say coulda, shoulda, woulda, but overall I think it's a good range. Another thing that I wanted to kind of touch on, I saw that a lot of folks were saying that this replaced the Tape Shape foundation. But if you go on Tarte's website, they're still selling that as well as this. So I'm not sure, you know, what some folks were talking about when they said that, because while it may not be in Ulta, if you go on Tarte's website, they're still selling these two as two separate foundations. But of course, this one has the larger shade range. So with this foundation, again, I started off with a blank canvas. I went in again with my Believe Aqua Bomb moisturizer. So here's the box, and for the most part of it, it just kind of matches the foundation bottle. The bottle is really cute in my opinion. Both of the bottles are really cute. It does have a pump, and I'm just going to start off with one pump, and as you can see, it pretty much has the same consistency as the babassu Foundcealer Foundation. That's just such a funny name, but it has pretty much the same consistency, and I'm going to work in sections. I'm just going to work that in. Now, let me tell you, this foundation has a very strong perfume scent, and it was so strong until when I put it on, I was like, is that smell? It was just that strong, and I was thinking, surely, I thought to myself, surely that cannot be this foundation. So if you are one, I know some of you out there are sensitive to smells and you can't deal with it, and trust me, I get it. You want to run from this one because it's almost like it's a perfume. Because after I had this foundation on, I was taking my pictures, and I even went outside to do a photo for you all, I could still smell the foundation on my face. So anyway, I'm applying it. I'm applying it in, and I can tell you now that I don't agree that it is full coverage, because when I think full coverage, I'm thinking something like the Lancome Double Wear foundation. That is full coverage. You put one application on, that's going to cover everything you thought you could have had on your face. So I'm applying this, and it appears to apply very smoothly, and I am going to go in with another layer. And as you can see, it doesn't have that matte type of look. So it almost looks like a dewy foundation until you set it. So as you can see, I have taken pictures for you without a flash, no powder, and with a flash, no powder. And I also went in with the Cover FX powder, and I applied that. And after that, I took some pictures, and I have no flash with the powder, and I have with the flash powder. And I also included a picture with natural sunlight without a flash. And I feel as though for this foundation to be on the thicker side, that it didn't settle into my fine lines and wrinkles. And as you can see, and I think that after a second application, I don't think that it was still full coverage. I think that had I went into a third and fourth, it probably would have been full coverage, but at that point, why even wear it if you have to put that many coats of foundation? I don't like the fact that it has a scent. I'm a little confused. I don't understand why they would put such a heavy perfume scent in that foundation, because for me, I feel like that ruined it. Did feel comfortable. I do like the babassu better. I just like the way it feels on my skin better. It just feels a little bit more comfortable. Not to say that the face tape isn't comfortable, and it's probably due in part to the babassu foundation being more geared to skincare, since it has a little bit more ingredients that are geared to hydration and things like that. That's probably why it feels better on the skin. But if your skin type is like mine and you are pretty much normal everywhere except in the T-zone, and in the T-zone I just get a little bit oily throughout the day. And when I'm talking about throughout the day, that's starting at that probably 4-hour mark. Okay, and that's with, you know, a lot of activity during the day. I think that this would be a really good foundation. If you're oily, I would say that you would probably need to get a primer that's going to mattify you really good, because again, for this matte for this foundation to be matte, it still has hydrating, very hydrating ingredients in it, like the snow mushroom and the apple extract. So, you know, you would think, since you have a matte foundation and then you have one that is, you know, more on the radiant side or natural side, you would think one would be good for dry skin and one would be good for normal or oily skin, but not so much. I would think both would be better suited for drier skin. And you know, if you have oily skin or if you tend to get a little bit oily, I think that these two foundations may not be for you. So overall, do I like these foundations? I like the concealer. I like this one. This one, I would like it, but I don't like the fragrance. I do not like fragrances in foundations. I don't see the purpose in it. I don't know, it kind of confuses me. Fragrances in foundations and powders and things like that, I don't get it. It's a lot of junk that's in fragrances, and that's a whole nother that's a whole nother video about all of the junk that's in, and to me it just seems counterproductive. If you're going to talk about how healthy or how good a foundation is, why would you throw junk in it? It just, I don't know. But anyway, that's a pet peeve of mine. And just in case I failed to mention, I didn't smell anything with this one. I didn't smell a fragrance. So yeah, that's pretty much my comparison on these two foundations. If you have dry skin, either one of these would be good for you, honestly. If you have dry skin. If you have oily skin, I don't know. You might not. If you like that dewy look, I would say definitely this one, because I have that on now and I think I look dewy. I like the look. I really do. After it, and it honestly looks like my skin is just so greasy and oily, but no, it's not. It really isn't when you touch it, and I think it's just pretty. After I applied it, I was just pouncing around in front of my family and my husband, you know, like just waiting on him to say, oh, you look so pretty. But anyway, I hope this video was helpful to somebody out there. I really appreciate you stopping by. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the foundations, if you are even going to try it, if you're interested in it. I know some people aren't, some people are. Let me know down in the comments. Again, I appreciate you stopping by, and until my next video, smooches.